culminates in the crucifixion. Now, not only can you take each one of these scenes incrementally, but you can take whole chapters of them, like 8, 7, and 6 are together interrelated on a very high level. This is called Mark's linkage. Mark's linkage, that's what it's called. That it looks like it is so carefully designed that another thinker, who I was not going to mention names until the end, but I really think this man deserves a special applause, Hengel by name. Hengel came along and said, look here, if you take this structure and break it up into 5 nice pieces, you can see, now this excludes the idea of post-resurrection Jesus. Remember, with his 16:8, no post-resurrection appearances of Jesus. If you drop out, you see, the post-resurrection appearances, then you have to look at this story and look for its meaning somewhere else than in the post-resurrection thesis. Well, there is no place in the Gospel of Mark where any man mentions Jesus as the Son of God. Now, the Son of God. The centurion at the end of the story recognizes the figure of Jesus, and he says, not the, but a Son of God. It's not the. In the beginning of Mark, this is the beginning, the Gospel of Mark starts with the thesis that the story of Jesus Christ, the Son of God. That announcement came later, somewhere around 600, I believe. And this was added in the beginning of the story. Therefore, there's a profound mystery about what's going on with this fantastic figure called Jesus. Now, why do we say fantastic? Because there's an interesting position in the middle of this story, and that's that great scene of the Transfiguration. Right? The Transfiguration is that divine luminosity that spills all over Jesus in front of Peter and John. And out of the luminosity emerges Elijah and Moses, and they have a talk together. An astonishing story, of course, where Peter says, after he sees that, we should build 3 tabernacles. And, of course, Jesus tells them, oh, hold off, wait until you understand something, and that is, what does it mean for the Son of Man to be risen in 3 days? And they worry about that, and they say, what in heaven's name does he mean? But this is the great drama. See, right in the middle of the story is the Transfiguration. There is no resolution of what he is in the story. Therefore, these divisions and the drama that unfolds bears a one-to-one correspondence to a Greek tragedy, as defined by Aristotle. It has the 5 parts of a tragedy. It has a one-to-one correspondence. And therefore, what does that mean? That means it was constructed as a literary work. Therefore, you can't use it as the basis for historical study of Jesus. Or it must be subordinated. Now, let me see if we can go into the 14 points, just for a moment. Okay, this is the traditional view, and every one of these quotes can be found in Paul, and it's called the 14 points. All right? This is the traditional view that was given the picture of Christianity that existed prior to biblical studies. Thank you. Yeah, I'll hold it down when I need it. Thank you. That God sent forth his Son, a pre-existent divine being who appears as a man on earth. He dies the death of a sinner. He makes atonement for the sins of man. The resurrection marks the beginning of a cosmic catastrophe. Death, the consequence of Adam's sin, is abolished. The demonic forces are deprived of their power. And the risen Christ is at the right hand of God. He will come again on the clouds of heaven. And redemption, resurrection, and judgment, and death, all of that will be abolished, and it will happen soon in the life of Paul, he thinks, and in Mark. It is imminent. Now, every one of these 14 points can only be found in Paul. They cannot be found in Mark. They cannot be found in Matt. One or two possible interpretations will fit in Luke, but some more, by far, are found in John. Now, what does that mean? Well, just to have it in the moment, simply said, it means that Mark ignored Paul and these points. He knew the sayings of Q, ignored them. He was doing something else. And what he was doing is doing a study on these two, parables, miracles. That's the force of Mark. Now, why that is interesting is Bultmann and C.H. Dodd, who's the famous Greek scholar who did the great work on the elements of theology of Proclus, and it's still going on. It reached its high point around 1970, 1980. They have then taken upon themselves to do a major study of the parables to see whether they can crack the meaning of the parables. And this is a very interesting work. What they found so far, they brought together a good number of them. And the basic thesis that's being developed now is all of the parables together point to the need for and the exploration of the one idea, the kingdom of God. And the miracles are playing a background role, which are playing an emphasis in respect to the kingdom of God, and therefore that's the whole thesis that's carrying across with Mark. Now, the significance of the parables for Mark is that he's very clear. Mark is very clear about the parables, that they are for the 12 and those that are with him and those that are with Jesus. That's what he says. And those that are with him, with me. All right? That's what they're for. Now, that makes it an esoteric teaching because he says, and for the others, I will speak only in parables, but for you I will tell you and reveal to you the meaning of the parables. Therefore, it's an esoteric story. The sayings of Jesus only have, at the most, just two parables, but they're opened up and explored. They are not kept secret. Therefore, in the hands of Mark, we're getting an esoteric teaching that fits in with the background of Greek tragedy, that seems to have many themes and ideas common to the Hellenistic age. Now, do I want to go there yet? No, not yet. Okay. Now, two men are playing a major role. One is called Kloppenberg, and the other one is Robinson from Claremont down here in the Institute of Antiquities. What have they done? You see, what's happened is we now have a wealth of material that was unknown, and we're all familiar with it. Basically, it's the material that was known and discovered by, I forget his name. I'll think about it. In St. Catherine's Monastery in 1870, he came out with a text in 1879. Oh, let me get my chalk and put down a couple of things, all right?
Thomas Taylor?
Pardon me?
Thomas Taylor?
No. It was that great genius. It's right on the